Hello, truth seekers. Lawrence here, and welcome to Easy Enlightenment. So, spiritual enlightenment or spiritual awakening is about the death of the ego. Now, what does it mean by the death of the ego? It means dissolving the ingrained belief in oneself or dismantling all ideas in oneself through investigating the belief itself that we see as true. Now, we see something as true in life is because of the experience. Life is about experience. We are going through experience, and more, ideas are coming in us that we see as true. Now, when we see something as a true, it's just a relative truth, and relative truth is not the absolute truth. Relative truth is a functioning truth. There's a difference on those two worlds. And relative truth is all about the patterns, recognizing the pattern. And when we catch the healthy pattern, that becomes true in life. And when you're walking towards the true freedom, the inner freedom, we need to dissolve the relative truth. Because the absolute truth is not a pattern world. It's not a conditioning world. That's why we have to investigate on our ingrained belief, on our attachment, that we are so hypnotized by it. And the process is that investigating our beliefs, whether it's true or not. And when we start to investigate on our ingrained belief, then that investigation opens many doors for us to investigate further on all the attachment. In life, we have several attachment, not just one. Several attachment. And that attachment is coming from the place of fear of struggle, fear of pain, fear of fear itself. There's fear of so many things in life, everyone's life. Because of that, we are ingrained in certain belief, and we are moving from that belief because that belief itself provides the boundary of safety, comfort. And prolonging that itself is fighting against the nature. Nothing is permanent, everything is shifting. And when things are shifting, the more we hold on to, the more we go against the nature. We put more effort. That effort itself becomes further struggle. It's just not the physical struggle, it's the mental struggle as well. Eventually we get tired of maintaining that effort, isn't it? And that's where the spiritual enlightenment comes in, the spiritual awakening comes in, which liberates us from the mental struggle, the physical struggle. Now, here's the thing, guys. We are attached to certain beliefs, certain ideas in us because of the experience. Life is about experience, and we are going through the experience, and you know, and experience always leaves the residue as an idea. And some of the experience we have gone through in life is life changing. You know, it creates a lot of shift in life that we see the upgrades, and especially the experience that come in a way to, you know, make a big change. We see that experience as true, and that experience becomes an idea. The experience always leaves a residue as an idea, and our life, you know, moves from that idea, because we know that that idea supports certain experience. Now that idea, you know, becomes the reality in a living world. But we don't see that experience is a relative experience, the functioning experience. And the spiritual path is opposite to that. The relative, you know, world is about a pattern. You recognize certain pattern, you're involving in that world, you are creating a shift by aligning with the pattern. Big change is happening in your life. And the absolute truth, the spiritual enlightenment, is about dissolving the pattern to nothing. It's the realm of void, realm of nothingness. And that's our background as who we are. That's the inner truth. See, one is no pattern, one is pattern. And when we ingrain in the pattern world, when we see something as true, and life is happening from that pattern world, it contradicts the absolute world. And when the life is happening from the, you know, pattern world, when we see that as absolute true, that itself is suffering. Why? Because the pattern world is always changing, shifting. You know, the pattern world is always upgrading according to your observation. And trying to hold on to the changing world as true makes you, you know, suffer, because you are controlling that, you know, that part of your life. You're controlling, you're creating a boundary, you know, not to lose. You're resisting things in your life that are making you, you know, shake your foundation. And you're resisting, you're controlling to maintain that relative world is effort. Is effort that you're going against yourself by not understanding the nature way of things. Nothing is permanent, but you're trying to make it permanent. And that effort is struggle, that effort is pain, that effort is, you know, coming from the place of fear of losing what you have, you know, what you have achieved, what you have gained. Yeah. Losing, fear of losing that which you see as true. And your ego doesn't like to see, ego self doesn't want to see that. It's It's like you prove journey is proving you as wrong, and your ego self don't want to be wrong. The ego is always want to be right. So the ego will do anything to prove it right, especially when your life is ingrained in a certain belief, a preference, idea for a long time. You're living from that foundation, decades and decades. It's very hard to let go of what you have believed in for decades and decades, isn't it? You want to see it's true. The ego self is making you see true. Now you can see that as true for yourself, for your ego, but from the absolute sense, it's not true. That's why there is a battle. And not accepting it as a false, itself is a battle. Itself is another struggle. Now, we don't have to, fight with what we have. We have to understand, through investigation. That's the natural process. Investigating is the non-violent approach. It's about, making oneself see what I think is true or not. You are making yourself see what you think of something to be true or not through the investigating work. That's the inward journey. That's the way to, loosen the ego grip in oneself. And by being part of this journey, slowly and slowly, we start to see that our experience, the experience that leaves the residue as an idea is not true. Because it's coming from the outside world. What comes from the outside world to the inside is not true. The truth already exists within you as consciousness itself, as a background. And actually that background supports your experience to come and go. All ideas, all experience, comes on the consciousness. Consciousness allows everything to rise and fall on the consciousness itself. So how can we see that our experience and ideas as true when it has that changing nature? The spiritual enlightenment or awakening is about figuring out the unchanging nature in oneself, and that is the consciousness itself that supports everything to come and go. And to get to the consciousness, to rest in consciousness, is by investigating so that we can see, how our ingrained beliefs are ingrained in us, how the outer experience becomes the inner reality. We see that through the investigating our mind, our ego. Basically, our mind itself is the ego self. All mind is simply an ideas or belief, and all beliefs, all ideas are the ego self. Especially when they are ingrained in us, becomes the ego self. And journey is about, using the mind and tracing the mind backward, using the belief to trace it backward to see the root cause of the attachment to the belief, and going further back on the root until there is no belief, no idea is left in the process. And that's the way to rest in consciousness as you. That's the process. That's the journey towards, resting in being, resting as no mind. And after that, once we, get there, then the outward movement, the mind is just the reference to connect the dots. But the consciousness as you will always be the driving, the in charge of your life. That's the, driver's seat. You sit on it, you become that, and your life happens from there. That's why after that, there is the thing called easy living. Life without a conflict, life without a fear. That's only possible when we work on the ingrained belief to see whether it's true or not, through deconstructing or subtracting or dismantling is the same thing, for the process, same different names for the same process. It's going backward on your mind to no mind. Okay, I hope this video makes sense to some extent, and I hope you're enjoying the backward movement. Keep going, and your sincere effort will not fail you. Okay, thanks for watching this video. See you in the next video. Take care for now. Bye.